2000.
In the city that never sleeps, Detective Sarah Pazzini prowls the darkness,
Sometimes I feel like I'm losing my mind.
hunting the most powerful man in the underworld.
When I have a problem, I take care of it.
Legendary hitman, never been caught, one of the smartest, hardest bad guys in the city.
Gallo just killed one of my best friends.
You can't prove that.
Yes, I can.
But on the edge of madness, a chance encounter.
It's not Spawn, my AKA Powders. It's Witchblade, the greatest 90s comic book creation. The greatest character to put a company on the map. After the company had already run. They ran their ideas, they ran into comic shops, but they were fizzling out. Top Cow and Witchblade changed the entire landscape of American comic books. I say it's the greatest 90s creation. And I know a lot of you out there, you guys want to say Spawn. But here's the wild thing. New Line Cinema, right? New Line Cinema, they dropped that Spawn movie. And it does well at the box office. But it's not a frenzy. It didn't do as well as The Crow. Didn't do as well as Blade. No sequel, no hype, no anticipation. We can relatively say that Spawn as a American icon character died with the death of that movie. This is why McFarlane has been absolutely desperate, and I say desperate, like I'm not kind when I say that, because I do believe he is desperate. He is desperate to put Spawn back on the map, potentially with another flick. A lot of people out there believe that will never happen. I happen to be one of them. And then we go into the Spawn animated series from HBO. 3 seasons. And part of that perspective is a little bit skewed. That show did fizzle out. It is only 3 seasons. Not a lot of episodes per season. But it's adult animation. It was ballsy for the time. And they did swing for the fences. All things that the AKA Pad Army appreciates. But then later, along came Witchblade. And what happens with Witchblade? Well, Witchblade takes over the comic book sales charts. Witchblade does what Spawn doesn't do. It creates an absolute superstar with Michael Turner. Witchblade, like Spawn, still continues to this day. Now, given they've rebooted Witchblade a few times, they've made Witchblade more of a legacy character, just like Spawn, like Al Simmons, more of a legacy character. A lot of the founding Image fathers did this to some of their creations. Savage Dragon is a legacy character, Spawn, Witchblade. Technically, we can even argue Wildcats as a franchise, is a legacy team. So, but what happens with Witchblade, right? I mean, we got to talk about this. The wild thing is that people dismiss the Witchblade anime. The anime DVD sold. People were excited for that. There was a vinyl statue that sold. Witchblade had an action figure line by More Creations. Our boy, we've been focusing a lot on Claiborne Moore. This company, his company, sculpted, put out those action figures, and they were sold. He also had the Buffy license, so, you would just down order a couple cases of Witchblade, Fathom, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and within the comic shop, just fill up a wall of them. But no one discusses the Witchblade anime. And here's the real kicker, because everything comes down to live action, right? Again, McFarlane not letting go of that Spawn movie. He needs another Spawn movie. He needs a Spawn movie to be a hit. The Witchblade live action television series, at the time, it was as good and well made as any of those genre, mid-tier live action fantasy, live action science fiction shows were. I mean, we would have Crow Salvation. We even had the Mortal Kombat one. How about Nightman from Malibu Comics? But it was mid-tier. My contention is that Witchblade live action show is better than the Spawn movie. And knowing that they were going to march forward and do more with the element of the Witchblade itself, into season 2 and into season 3, they had a little bit of a timeline to how they wanted to reveal and unfold those powers. So we never quite got there. So, with the death of the Witchblade live action, there was a lot of goodwill in the comic book, and the comic book continued for almost 20 years. A lot of people put focus on Spawn hitting issue 300. We really have to say that Spawn's true arc is 130, 140 issues. Post 100, it kind of became like a vampire book. A lot of you may not be into that. I know a lot of you guys like to say like Spawn's great, Spawn's this, but none of you can recite the arcs back to me. But Witchblade, it was really strong for 50 issues. Spawn has a great 100-issue arc. So we can maybe say Spawn's got 5 years of content, pages, issues over Witchblade, but we cannot deny Witchblade solidified itself with Michael Turner. And there's no other artist and comic book creation of the 90s as important as Michael Turner and Witchblade. I'm even talking Spawn, Todd McFarlane, Savage Dragon, Eric Larson. I'm even talking Rob Liefeld and Youngblood. Michael Turner and Witchblade was an absolute masterpiece. It was an absolute weapon. Even to this day, books made today don't come close to the quality of those early, 24 issue run of Witchblade. Now, some of you guys might say, well, what about J. Scott Campbell and Gen 13, right? Like, we hear that so much. J. Scott Campbell, he drew the girls. The content and the guts of the Gen 13 comic, again, fun to read, not impactful, doesn't quite carry on. But it was, such a lightning in the bottle, people held on to it. Witchblade, story-wise, everything. It really good for 2 years. I don't know what the other comic book commentators are saying when they pretend not to be able to follow Witchblade. On this channel, we're doing more and more with Witchblade, beginning with this episode right here. We can kind of argue this is a little bit of our introduction to Witchblade, but we still have to move through a lot of the Cyberforce universe. Once we make our way through the Cyberforce universe, we will get into Witchblade, we will get into Darkness, and yes, we will get into maybe the greatest comic book crossover of all time, Witchblade, Tomb Raider, Endgame. It is one, it's AKA Padders, it's there. It's a shot in the groin. It's that effing good. So today, I just wanted to bring you guys up to speed to how Witchblade was introduced to the world. Was she a part of a story? Was she not a part of a story? A lot of individuals forget it's she, Cyblade. That was the first appearance of the character Witchblade. It's beyond me too that this is not a $100 comic. What's wrong with comic? This is why we're not a collector channel. We are a comic book reader channel. This comic alone should be a $100 comic, and it's not. And that's how everything is broken. This is a great example of all that. The Witchblade statue that I showed you earlier. That statue, we should all be priced out of that statue. But we're not. Weird things happen. Weird things happen. So let's hit the drawing table. we're going to be a little bit quick, but I just want to bring you guys up to speed of what was happening with Top Cow Productions when Witchblade came into light, came into being, and what else was Top Cow trying to do to capitalize on what was called the Bad Girls comic book movement, or the Bad Girls comic book era. We're talking Witchblade, we're talking She, we're talking Lady Death, we're talking Dawn, and we got a couple other that we left out of there. It was a crazy time in comics because it was literally sex sells. Sex was selling. Sex was there, and it was unapologetic. Will we ever see that again in American comics? We will not. So again, too, like, Witchblade holds so much gravity. Let's hit that drawing table and let's explore Michael Turner's, Marc Silvestri's, David Wall. I think there's another creator in there I'm leaving out. Witchblade, let's go. There she is, aka Patters. I wish we had something of a fantastic story here. I wish we had something outside of straight up wonderful Marc Silvestri visuals. And if we just get into the credits, some of the pencil assistants, Anthony Wynn. Anthony Wynn takes over a couple panels and a couple shots here. A lot within the 90s studio system. We deal with this a lot. We deal with this a lot on Wildstorm Wednesday, which is with the studio system, how well does the Jim Lee work blend into the rest of the studio. Our review, our commentary, our discussion points on a lot of the, like, even Jim Lee Wildcats, we can spot Scott Clark faces, we can spot Scott Clark hair, we can spot Brett Booth poses within Jim Lee pages. This was their system, and you just have to go with it. So when Marc Silvestri's credit, the point I'm getting at is like when Marc Silvestri's credited as pencils, he, we just want to say in some pages, some shots, some panels, he's leading the charge, and we have to get away from it at that point. Here's the wild thing. Look at the credits. Look at the amount of people. If we take away the production individuals, we have almost 20 names to produce a relatively thin comic book. And look, we know it's Witchblade's first appearance because October 1995. Yeah, Witchblade's coming. So, what happens with Witchblade? Like, what are we doing? We kind of we'll do this on this channel. We will get into Michael Turner's Top Cow work pre-Witchblade, because I really feel like the way Michael Turner caught fire, I'm not talking about with fandom, I'm not talking about with popularity. He caught fire in just the way he worked. He became a hell of a storyteller. His layouts are inspiring. He's one of the best layout guys of this era. No one attributes that to him, right? So Michael Turner, he really, like, this is Witchblade, aka Powders. Like, this is the book people say they hate. This is the book that, see what I mean about some of these layouts? Right? Like, we're not supposed to like Witchblade. We're not supposed to understand the story for Witchblade. We're not supposed to enjoy a comic book where Ian over here, right? He's got, look, he takes out a car with a samurai sword, slices a face in two, and the car just crashes and he lands. I mean, even this is a great layout. A lot of his pages are designed. So here too, like, see, we have a She, Cyblade She, Battle of the Independents. The independent part of this comes more into the Billy Tucci Crusade comic books end. We will do a complete retrospective on maybe like the first 180 issues of Witchblade, and I'm talking, if that's going to take 8 hours to do, we will do that. We will go through all of those issues. I'm reading a lot of them now. But Michael Turner, like, he just makes a name for himself. Again, too, like, his layouts are so legit. Darkness is coming, so by issue 7 of Witchblade, we get Darkness. Witchblade creates like a whole new era for Top Cow Productions. Can we argue that Witchblade saved the company? Like, in some ways, Witchblade became the identity of Top Cow Productions. And I know a lot of people for Top Cow Tuesday, you guys are waiting for us to go all in. Through the process, Top Cow leaves Image Comics, publishes under Top Cow only. They believe they got a month or 2 months worth of comics out of it. Again, like, the layouts are really there. So this is the Michael Turner, a lot of people know. And then from Witchblade, Turner, Top Cow, he later leaves Top Cow. He creates Fathom Comics. Not Fathom, I'm sorry, Aspen Comics. And with Aspen, he continues to publish Fathom. But look at these layouts. Just big ideas. A lot of amazing, fun stuff. Part of the mythology and the lore of the creation of Fathom was that Turner was scuba diving. And he was so inspired by what he saw underneath the surface, he came up from the ocean and he created all this. A straight up fantasy comic. Like, you know, like, Fathom's less superhero, it's way more fantasy. So all of that, we have this guy. We have Marc Silvestri to thank for everything Michael Turner. When Turner left Top Cow, it was contentious. I believe there was some infighting. And yeah, and I'm sure like a little bit of bad blood, because you don't want to see the guy that you helped create, you know, like Top Cow created Michael Turner. Top Cow with Michael Turner created Witchblade. Like, you don't want to see this guy leave your company, no matter what. Oh, sorry, Brian Haberlin, David Wall, Michael Turner, right? These are, and Marc Silvestri. They're not credited here, though, right? So what's happening here is, of the Bad Girl era, Top Cow's making a play. They're making a play to potentially transition Cyblade away from, as stated in this comic, by the way, they're trying to position Cyblade away from Cyberforce, and then maybe give her a little bit of a friendly adversarial relationship with Witchblade. That's kind of where we are with this. It really never comes to fruition, but we begin with she, and the stuff that Marc Silvestri does here, aka Powders, I just want you guys to see. Like, we're dealing with 3-point perspective. It's very simple, right? You guys can see the triangle, how we're dealing, like, kind of like off the grid. But it's a very... He does this with his Dark Knight work, but Marc Silvestri does these just amazing, cool, well-shadowed buildings. So she is falling. As she falls, she's just slaying nothing but ninjas. And look at this guy's pose. She decapitates a few of them. We get some nice blood splattered panel here. And then we cut to the money shot. And this is exactly what you want. See, a lot of the back and forth with what is the intent of crossovers, Top Cow nails it here. Because they give us Marc Silvestri drawing she, like, from the cover, like, early. They give us what we want early. We want to see her fight. We see her fight. We want to see some blood. We get some blood. We want a cool action shot. We want a setting. She's in the city on a pile of ninjas. Very Wolverine, if I say, or very Frank Miller's Daredevil, if I say. And then we cut to Cyberdata, and they're tracking her, and they're like, hey, we need this girl. We have to get her. We think she knows things. But we have no intention of killing her. Okay, so let's capture the girl. And then boom, here comes Cyblade. Cyblade's walking down the street. People are looking. She's wearing the hot heels. We get a car crash. They call that the Cinderella effect. You know, when a girl walks into a room and everyone turns their heads. Like when, you know, like when she walks in. Like, Pike over here is like what? He's like, yeah, like the Cinderella effect. But she's like, yeah, walking down the street. It feels so good to be in clothes that don't dent my skin. Here we go. And to be away from Cyberforce for a little while. Well, she's popping in to see a friend to buy artwork, because that's what the babes do. That's what the hot babes do. They don't care about the accidents that they cause. You know, they just kind of, you know, show off that booty a little bit here. Show off the booty, make a car crash, and buy some artwork. And she's buying some artwork from She. And these are some of the panels we were talking about. This is not a Marc Silvestri face. But some of these super shocks come out of nowhere. And how wonderful do they look? I love this dude's antlers. I even like the silhouette of this pose. Like, you just know what position he's in. Yeah, and then boom. Great panel here. Shocks land. It is showtime. So her friend over here is like, you know, is She. But she also sells artwork. But then she also double kicks. Does a little split. I don't know. Can you guys see up that skirt? I don't know. Yeah, a fight ensues. Let's go. Cyblade activates her powers. She does her best Remy impression here. Throws a couple Psy power thing. Like her Psy shots, right? Like shoots them out of her hands. Yeah, takes out a shock. And then relatively, I mean, this is a great pose here. Yeah, we see some of the shocks getting beat up. This wasn't part of the plan. What do we do? That's right, because two girls are just destroying a bunch of armored mercenaries from a dropship, shattering glass, just punching them across the room. No big deal, but they're losing. And then She gets zapped, and she kind of blacks out. And then here we go. This is the page. I know people go into the revelation or the reveal of Witchblade, which is coming up. But we have Sarah Panizzi. This is Witchblade's alter ego. Sarah Pezzini. Give me some of that baked ziti and a Pezzini, please. She's like, look, whatever you were doing, you're okay. What was happening? Cyblade gives the worst excuse ever. Why would she almost says shock troopers there. Look, I don't know anything. Those things burst in and knocked me unconscious. And Sarah's like, look, just call me. As she's walking away, Sarah's like, look, you're going to have to tail her. This guy's probably like, I got no problem tailing this girl. I got no problem tailing that. No problem tailing this. But she tells him he's on it. She knows something's up. Back at Cyberdata, aka Patterns. You guys know I love establishing shots. You know I love transitional pages. Look at the white background here. It's all white, right? We know we're in a particular scene. White pages, white background, white background, white background. Different setting, different environment. The bad guys, it's all black. We know we're in. Why don't more of you guys do this? But we're in a different setting. And I love this panel with the car pulling up to the warehouse. But this panel here. This is comic book here. This is great. Let me just show you what's happening in this panel. We have our eye level right here. Okay? We have a nice silhouette right here. So we see someone standing. And then, look, the giant door of the warehouse. New character entering. Yeah, he's not alone. So, you know, we're building out the scene. But here's what makes the scene. All of these boxes right here. These boxes just, we know exactly where we are. Like, you can almost, like, smell it. And they're like, oh, yeah, this is our new thing. So, they make it sound like she's a piece of tech, but they just brainwashed she. And Cyblade's at home, and she's like, I gotta figure out my life. And she's just talking out loud. But she's like, I kill my friends get kidnapped. The Cyberforce thing's messing up with me. And she kind of makes a reference, too, of moving through time, which we previously saw in Cyberforce. Check out those videos. And look, she literally talks outside. Maybe I can't go back. Either stay an armored hero or go hide in some cave. So, none of my... hide in some cave so none of my enemies can I talk, can hurt anyone else when they come get me. And then boom, paranoid, and we call this the anchor, because again, end scene technically, but we get revelation, and here it is. This is Witchblade. Guys, here's the crazy thing about Witchblade. Where's our girl at? Right here. This is why I love. We gotta point this out. See, this is the Witchblade we love, right? Like the skin. The skin. Look, she's got these drapes right here. She's got some type of clothing fabric here. She's got some type of asymmetrical, like, leotard. It's like, what's this? What's this? And what's this? Okay? That's our Witchblade. It's going to take us a little bit to get to this point. Okay? But that's where we want to be. Gotta put that down. That statue's valuable. Yeah, but Witchblade's like, look, girl, I know who you are. You want to help me find these bad guys? So they team up. They run off. And they have to fight she and the Shocks. And here we go. And Cyblade the whole time is like, yo, that's my, friend. They start to attack. Look, Cyblade's like, nice outfit. Who's your Anna? Right? And then boom. Look at this silhouette. I love that monkey flip. And then this is crazy. During this fight, Cyblade gets completely nuked by she. Right through, like, her whole chest gets blown out. Sarah's like, no. And then, not only does her chest get blown out, but she also gets blasted. And Sarah's just like, man, this superhero stuff is a YOLO. I could have saved her. So, Witchblade demonstrates the ability to bring Cyblade back to life. That's what she does. Now, here's the thing. When we get into the entire Witchblade arc and the Witchblade lore, Witchblade is relatively an element of life. So this is like already in canon to what we get later with Witchblade. But the evil Cyber Data dude is like, take them out. Take them all out. And then we get, Cyblade coming back to... This is the greatest let's wrap up this issue ever page. Witchblade's like, blah, 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 blah. Cyblade is back to life. Witchblade disappears. And then, boom. And then we have... this book is dedicated to all the independent publishers, which is really which is there, because when we get into this, the second part, Cyblade, we have Cerebus, then we have Ash, we have Milk and Cheese, we have Scud, the disposable assassin, we have Tyrant, we have Bizarre Heroes, and we have Larry Marder, Bean World Boy, who writes the intro. So this is... It's more of a celebration of independent characters. This was a staple. This crossover is more or less a sign of the time. And the time is where the creators of the industry were really running the industry. These guys diluted everything down the road when even Billy Tushy would take Daredevil and team him up with She for a crossover, or Marc Silvestri would take Cyberforce and cross him over with JLA. You really want to say, this is further, guys, I'm hypothesizing here. You really want to say that this could have toppled the big two easily if they just stuck doing this. But each of these guys, Ash crosses over with Azrael. Like, you know, Scud Disposable Assassin could never keep a schedule. Milk and Cheese fades away. But the idea of getting your own characters and get your characters teaming up, right, guys, we never got our Crypt Disorder team up. Where did that happen? Like, you know, like, that's what the 90s was all about. That's something that people miss from this era. Everything I'm telling you now, aka Powders, you have to stick with me on this channel. This is a future dissection. The full path of Witchblade, of future dissection. Marc Silvestri's arc as a creator, artist, publisher, future dissection. And dare I say, and I know you guys are waiting for it, the Michael Turner of future dissection. I only wish I could do this all day and all night for you, aka. But episodes like this, they bleed into so much other, like, just endless work. But I'm going to do it all. So stick with me. So subscribe, support, leave a comment. Let's go.